morning, everybody. Judea Hartley here. Welcome back into the one and the only AM show. Now, you guys, I am super stoked about today's in-person guest. We teased that we have an incredible woman coming on the show. Her name is Macharia, and she is a sustainability specialist, you guys. She's into advocacy and nonprofit organizations, just really catering to the space world and all things under that umbrella. She has some incredible projects and some great opportunities lined up, and she's here to talk about her work with us. So, without further ado, would you welcome my new friend, Miss Macharia?
Hi.
Yes, that better scream for her. Yes. Hey, girl.
Hey.
So I am super excited to sit here and chat with you. I feel like you have your hands in so many incredible things. I don't know how you're able to look this good when you're that busy, right? But you are an advocate. You are a CEO of your own company. Your passion is in the space industry. You also do water advocacy. I mean, so many things. So we're going to take it back to the beginning, right? Your foundation. So I know that you had curated your own nonprofit organization entitled Brave Leap. Tell me a little bit about that, and also tell me, two-part question, also tell me where your passion for space exploration came from.
Absolutely. So Brave Leap is a new endeavor I've just launched, and we essentially use the wonder of exploration to inspire people to engage in environmental stewardship. And we do that in 3 really fun domains: space exploration, so the world of space flight; water advocacy, talking about, keeping the oceans clean; and then also we do a little bit of agriculture work too, and we're trying to get folks more caring and passionate about taking care of our land and engaging in farm work.
Wait, so I love that. All right, Kim, you said that like that was nothing. I told her that, y'all, off camera. I'm just having 40 international students come over here, and I'm going to the White House on like, girl, you are saying it like we're going just down the street. No, really take a deep dive into your work. Be proud of everything that you're accomplishing. So when did you create Brave Leap? Who came up with that title? Who helps you run that organization? Give me all the details.
Absolutely. So I launched Brave Leap earlier this year, and the title was inspired by my own journey into the world of exploration. So I got into the world of space flight a number of years ago. Back in college, I had a screenwriting fellowship for a couple of years. And my last script for the screenwriting fellowship was actually about 2 women from across the world competing for a free trip to space. And when I wrote this script, it was just inspired by a space camp jacket that I got from a thrift store. I discovered all of the inequities that exist in space, how there weren't many women, there weren't many people of color or people from non-space-faring nations. And I was like, how can I fix this? So I studied philosophy in college, and I wrote my senior thesis about democratizing space.
Ooh, wow.
Making it more accessible, because space touches countless aspects of our daily life, and people don't know it. They think about billionaires, they think about Elon and Bezos, and it's not those folks who are really building our future in space. We have so many pieces of invaluable infrastructure located above our heads in low Earth orbit, just about 400 miles up from where we are here on the ground. And those satellites keep our world connected. And there are these invisible forces that we heavily rely on, and people don't connect those dots because they see rockets and they see rich people engaging in space tourism, but that's not what it's about. And so I was like, people they're not seeing the full picture. How can I get them to care, and how can I make sure that more people who are engaged in this workforce look like the rest of us? So I graduated. I had a bunch of connections in the film sector. I mentioned I was studying screenwriting in some ways. And I was like, let me try and get a job in space. I'm gonna take this brave leap. And if I can get a job in space, cool. If not, I'm gonna go back to what I know. And 2 months later, I spent the last little bit of money I had, went to go volunteer at a space conference in Seattle. I'm from Atlanta. And while I was holding a door open, I met this guy. And he asked me what I'm doing there. I tell him about my paper and my visions for the future of space. Next morning, he invites me to have breakfast, and we're chatting. And he ends up creating an internship position for me at his company. And I moved to New York 3 weeks later, and I've been doing space advocacy, work, outreach, education ever since.
Oh my God. Oh girl, I am I am blown away. Okay, so many questions I want to ask just based off of that synopsis. So I love, because I know about dissertations and thesis and writing your papers, presenting your arguments, and you have to come up with proof. You have to come up with evidence which supports your argument. I do. I know about that because we had to do that in my doctoral program. So you said democratizing space. Okay, so how do you plan on democratizing that? How do you plan on democratizing space? What are some practical ways?
Yeah, so first off, it's giving access to opportunities, right? And helping to create more pathways for folks to get jobs in the industry. And then once people are engaged in the industry, whether that's through apprenticeships, internships, and just simple mentorship engagements where students can talk to folks who have beautiful careers in the sector, then it's about getting them into places where they can help make decisions on what our long-term future is in the industry. Things in space don't happen quickly. It takes time. And so it takes lots of folks coming together to make like 10-year, 15-year plans in order for us to figure out what humanity's future in space looks like. And so I think it's really important that we get folks engaged as soon as possible in these fields so that they can make these decisions and ensure that we don't make the mistakes we've made here on Earth up there. We actually have debris in space. We have trash. And it's only gonna get worse because we're launching more and more and more satellites. The cost of launching a satellite just continues to decrease, which makes it easier for folks from other countries that have never sent objects to space to have the chance to do that. And which is exciting. Opportunities and access, it's opening up. But also we have to think about what that means long term, because if a collision happens in space, space junk can damage key pieces of infrastructure. Something the size of like a chip of paint can cause catastrophic damage to an object in space only because of the speed at which things are moving up there. And so it's really important that we think about this now before it's too late.
Oh my God, that was so good. So good. I felt like I just was in like a biology class. I'm here for it. So you mentioned that you interned at this guy's organization. Tell me what his organization was and what your experience was like. There.
So it was a really interesting company to enter into. It was a tech company that had just acquired an asteroid mining company. Which asteroid mining, it's all about getting resources from asteroids, things, especially like ice. Ice, you can actually melt that down, separate the oxygen and the hydrogen molecules, and use hydrogen for rocket fuel. So a lot of folks have this idea that one day we'll be able to do deep space travel and leverage astronauts almost as these floating gas stations, essentially. And so it's a far-fetched concept, but it's something that people are heavily investing in, and it's actually it's re-emerging right now as a popular thing. But what happened was the company I was at, they lost a lot of funding right around the time the acquisition was finished. So they were like, we have these brilliant people on our team. We have infrastructure still that we can utilize. What can we do instead of this asteroid mining endeavor? And so we ended up creating a project called TrueSat. TrueSat.
Okay.
So this is an open source catalog where we were basically educating people on how to track satellites and then turn space debris, and we're having them put it into this open source catalog. And so my job was, after I became an intern, I started getting a full-time role there, and I was a community manager. So I got people excited about engaging in the world of space, and that was what I was really passionate about, again, was getting opportunities for folks to help contribute to this exciting industry. Because the focus really was to give people a chance to contribute to the space sector from the comfort of their home, no matter what country they were in. And we did a great job at first. That opportunity was amazing for me because it put me into rooms I never would have had the chance to be in. Actually, within 1 year of me working in the space sector, I found myself speaking as the youngest person of color on stage at the UN World Space Forum.
Go girl.
It was an incredible experience.
Tell me about that.
I met leaders from across the world. I mean, that elevated my career to a whole other level because people could see that I was serious about the cause that I was championing. There was no one else at the time, not many people who were trying to really focus on getting that conversation around diversity and inclusion out into the narrative when it came to spaceflight specifically. And so I kind of took on that role, and that's kind of what propelled my career really quickly at a young age. And I'm so grateful that that man gave me a chance and that I was able to show what I was capable of.
Wow. Oh my, I am so impressed. I am so impressed by your dedication to your field and how you really hustled, essentially. Yeah, you hustled, essentially, to get where you were. You made sure that you were equipped with the knowledge, you knew what your passion was, and then you built relationships. Yep. That's how you're going to make it, by building relationships. Now, speaking of relationships, when people come up to you and they ask you, Kim, what do you do? What do you, family members, maybe family members or friends or other colleagues, and they're inquisitive in regards to what you do professionally. How do you sum all of that up, Kim? What do you like? Mine is pretty simple. I'm a morning talk show host, and even though it's powerful and impactful, I'm a morning talk. Like, you can sum it up in one sentence. How do you sum up your job description to folks?
I mean, my work is centered on expanding people's view of what's possible for themselves and for their communities. And so I do that in so many different arenas, but it's really the heart of every single thing that I do, whether that's by giving out grants to folks who are deserving. I've had the chance to do that in different industries, whether that's speaking and using my words to inspire folks to shift their view of the world and their view of what's possible for themselves. That's at the heart of everything that I do, and equipping them with the resources to make that possible.
I love that. Okay, so I also know that you served as the executive director of Space Prize. Now, tell us what Space Prize is all about, and what was your experience like serving as the executive director?
I had an amazing experience at Space Prize. We are focused on empowering young women to participate in the growing space industry. And we run contests and give away some pretty amazing experiences to deserving young women to get them excited about getting into the world of space, but again, also expanding their view of what's possible for themselves. So we actually did our first contest here in New York City. We gave away a zero-G flight to one girl in each borough, which, if you don't know what a zero-G flight is, you basically get into this reconfigured Boeing jet, and it's full of padding inside, and it makes these movements called parabolas. So it goes up and down like this. And when you're experiencing this up and down movement, the plane moves in such a way that it allows you to experience 30 seconds intervals of weightlessness. And so you are literally in the air, floating, doing spins. It's amazing.
Where does this take place?
It flies out of, locally to New York, they fly out of Newark.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, and it's a pretty beautiful experience. The next best thing to going to space, some would say. Actually, a lot of astronauts do zero-G flights to train to go to space. Yeah, so we gave away this opportunity to our students. Not only did we give them this trip of a lifetime, we put them up on a billboard in Times Square for a week. We sent them to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama. We had a private meeting with the U.S. ambassador to the UN with just our students, and they got to speak about their thoughts on how space can be used to help make the world a better place. And it was a pretty great start to our mission. I was so grateful to have gotten to connect with this brilliant group of girls. We ended up launching a few other contests in Paris and Portugal, and then we dove into creating our own education curriculum. So we have a free education curriculum that we promote and give out to students and teachers.
Oh my goodness. And you mentioned how space can be utilized to make the world a better place. Give me two reasons how. How can space be utilized to make the world a better place? Because that's what you're educating young girls on.
Absolutely. I mean, a majority of the data that we get around what's happening in our climate and our environment and our oceans and the land, we get that data from satellites.
Yeah.
It's so deeply connected. We would not be able to properly mitigate climate change if it wasn't for the work and the innovation that's happening in the space sector. On top of that, there are so many innovations that have come up because of research done by NASA scientists and other comparable organizations. And these innovations have helped to create life-changing tools and such for the healthcare industry, for agriculture. We actually have a whole section on our website for Space Prize, spaceprize.org, where you can actually see clear demonstrations as to how space connects to and supports about a dozen different industries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You are just doing a workload over here. And I know you have a special trip on Thursday. I know you have a special trip coming up around this time frame. And I know that I want to know all about that. But Kim, I am blown away. And I don't get impressed often. And I am so, I don't. I'm like, okay, no, you can get inspired, but I don't get impressed often. And I am so impressed by everything that you're doing. You guys, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but don't you go anywhere because we are going to go even deeper. Yes, deeper with my girl, Kim Macharia. We will be right back after these messages. Oh yeah, there she is, my new friend and our wonderful, brilliant special guest. Welcome back to the show, Miss Kim Macharia. Now, you guys, if you are just now tuning in, you're at a bittersweet moment. Bitter because you just missed a bulk load of wisdom that Kim just gave us. She is a sustainability specialist, just really advocating for her community and the water sector, the space sector, and all of the things. Now, Kim, I want you to tell us about your upcoming trip to the White House. Girl, what will you be doing there and how did that incredible opportunity come about?
So this is actually my second time getting to go to the White House.
Wow.
I spoke there last year for the first in-person event for Black in Space Week in partnership with the National Space
Space Week.
Yeah, Black in Space Week. We're a growing tribe, and it's just special, amazing group of people. I actually got to do a talk right before Victor Glover, who he is set to be the first person of color to go to the moon.
Wow.
Yeah, selected by NASA.
Incredible.
Yeah, so history is happening all around us right now, and it's such a blessing to be in an industry where so many beautiful shifts are taking place. This week, I'm actually going to go to the White House for a special roundtable discussion with a number of leaders who are trying to help engage folks in the workforce of the space industry. So the National Space Council is bringing a nice collective of leaders from across the sector to have some powerful discussions on how we can get more folks excited about working in space.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's pause here because I know that I'm your new friend, but I am so fascinated. I really am. I was telling her off camera, Kim and I were cracking up just now because I am so fascinated about everything that you're doing. I have to know that your family must be proud of you. So my question is, throughout this pursuit, who's been your biggest cheerleader?
I mean, absolutely my mother.
Yeah.
She believes in me. She has had so much faith since I started this journey. When I graduated college, I didn't have the right network, one would say. I didn't have the right educational background. I studied philosophy, not anything very technical. And when I decided to take this risk and try and get a job in space, she supported me full-heartedly. And I'm so grateful that she saw the vision, that she trusted my judgment and my own abilities, and my life would not be the same if it wasn't for her love and support.
Oh my God, I felt that. So you meant that. I felt that, Kim. Oh my God. Okay, wait, so before we get into the charter business for sailing, because girl, I know you've been sailing for about 4 years. Yeah. We're gonna talk about that. I wanna go sailing. Okay, we'll talk. I gotta go with you, Kim. I gotta go with you. We'll go. I wanna get into the black people, black in space. Okay, what is all of that about? I love that.
Yeah, so there's a group of Black folks who are involved in astrophysics and astronomy who they've been meeting virtually for quite some time.
Okay.
And thanks to dedicated efforts from their team, they were actually able to partner with the National Space Council, which is like the office in the White House that makes a lot of really pivotal policy decisions around what happens in space. And they had the first Black in Space Week last year.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah, that first in-person engagement. They've been doing it for a little bit of time virtually, but they got to do it in person, and we did it they had a beautiful start. They started high. And they actually did it again this year at the Museum of African American History.
Yes. Yeah, wait, that's located in Long Island.
It's in DC. This
okay,
one's in DC.
in
The
DC.
Smithsonian
Okay,
one.
yeah. We have a little bit of a branch here there in Long Island, Hempstead, but it's nothing like the one I have family in DC. It's nothing like the one in DC. You're so right. I think that's fantastic, democratizing space. So with all of that being said, let's switch gears just a little bit. So you've been sailing for about 4 years, right? You are involved in the charter business for sailing. Tell me all about that. When did you get into sailing? Tell me about the business. I'm so intrigued.
Yeah, I actually got into sailing kind of through space. I had some space industry friends post on Facebook, and they were like, we're looking for extra crew for a sailing race. And I had a free weekend, it was Memorial Weekend, and I was like, you know what, let me come down and join them, hang out with my friends. And I had an amazing time. And while we were finishing up our sailing race, I was asking some folks, and I was essentially like, yo, I would love to have a business or some kind of project endeavor where I can take people stargazing on boats. And they were like,
girl, I'm coming.
It's hard to do it sometimes in New York, it's a little cloudy here, but that was the vision, right? And so I come back home, and all my friends at the time, they were like, if you want, you can find really cheap boats on Craigslist. And I was like, all right, let me go look for a boat on Craigslist. And there are cheap boats on Craigslist, but docking a boat in New York City is insanely expensive, insanely expensive. So while I happened to be looking, it was just truly divine timing. There was someone who had a boat and was looking for some maintenance help. And they happened to be docked in one of my favorite marinas, 115, which is just over here in Brooklyn Bridge Park. And I ended up spending a whole summer waking up before work and going down to that marina from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. every single day that summer, doing repairs, and then getting to go slowly get my chance to go on the water. And that man, he is one of my greatest mentors and greatest supporters. He saw my dedication and devotion and let me kind of get in on the business a bit more as the years went on. And so I first mate on the boat. I'm working towards getting my captain's license, and it's my favorite summer hobby. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is incredible. So how often do you go sailing now?
In the summertime, when we're properly in season, I'm sailing like 3 or 4 days a week. So it's, evenings and weekends, yeah.
And what about when it's like fall? Like when
we're winding down.
I thought
we're definitely winding down.
I thought so. Oh my goodness, I want to go sailing.
Next season, come join us.
Yes, I have to. I'll be in charge of the snacks, girl.
We're Private Yachts NYC. We're one of the few sailing companies, like for small boats in the city.
I love it. 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 Now, I want you to talk to me about your space camp. Now, you guys, Kim, when she came on set today, before even coming on set today, she started telling me about her space camp, and she was like, yeah, Judea, and I bring 40 kids, and I'm just like, okay, hold on, girl. You gotta save that gold for the camera. Who created this space camp? Tell me the exact time, because you just told me about this, the exact name, the title of the space camp, the logistics in order to join it. Give me all the deets. I wanna know.
Absolutely. So this is actually a joint endeavor between Space Prize, the organization I was with, and my new nonprofit, Brave Leap.
Got it.
Yeah, so we're hosting this camp. We have 40 incredible young women. 20 of them are from Saudi Arabia. The rest are from here in New York. And they're going to go to the Intrepid Museum for a few days and work on building a CubeSat. They're going to meet an astronaut and have an amazing time, I hope, connecting, learning, and growing together.
Oh my, okay, and what was the prep like for that camp? First of all, how long is it?
It's short, it's just 3 days. It's three intense days because it is during the school year.
Yeah.
We actually, our Saudi girls will be here a little bit longer, so we have some bonus programs for them. But yeah, it's gonna be a jam-packed adventure from beginning to end. And for me, I'm so excited about it because I really wanna get these girls engaging their inner explorer.
Yeah.
So that's one of my signature workshops that we do for Brave Leap, is this thing called the Explorer's Mindset, where we get students and learners of all ages to really tap into their curiosity when it comes to what's happening out in our world and how they can contribute towards making our planet a better place. Whether that's tapping into the space environment, the water, any other field they might be excited about. And so we'll be helping them to unlock their inner explorer and connecting them to real scientific information that they can take back home into their classrooms, and hopefully we'll be planting seeds to get them inspired about what they can do with their life in the future.
Oh my gosh, talking about planting seeds, you absolutely are doing just that. And I know that you mentioned you have some other programs for the Saudia girls who are going to be there a little bit longer. Can you tell us a little bit about those other programs you have?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing some really fun mentorship engagements. Yes, because one of the biggest things that maybe people don't think about is that the US has like the strongest space program out there, right? Saudi Arabia, they're a little newer, and other countries, you know, don't have any space programs at all. So for us, it's really, really important to get those young people who are coming up connected to folks who can help them bring back knowledge and insights they can take back home to their country. You know, we don't want to hoard this knowledge, this wisdom. We want to spread it out because space should be open to all. It should not be a domain that's controlled by just a few powerful countries. We all leverage space to improve our lives. All of us, everyone around, billions of people around the world are connected to the world of space, yet they don't have any influence in it, and that has to change.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that so much. I also want to talk about a little bit about urban agriculture policy. So you work, Kim, to give grants to farmers. Tell me all about that. How did you get started doing that? What a big deal.
I take a lot of, like I said, brave leaps. That's what I feel like that really has just been the defining thing in my life, is taking bold risk as often as I can, you know, in a strategic, intelligent way. And so I actually was going to a sustainability conference in Vermont. And while I was on my way there, this was at the beginning of the year, I happened to meet board members for this organization. And we were on the same flight. We ended up staying at the same hotel coincidentally. And I had dinner with them, and I mentioned my diversity and inclusion work. I mentioned my grants work that I've done in the space sector. And they thought that my skill sets in those regards were perfect for what they were looking for. And they were like, do you want to get involved in farming? And I said, sure. And it's been an incredible experience so far. The farming community in New York and broadly is so beautiful and so strong. And there's a lot of room for improvement in similar ways to some of the work that I've done in space. I'm starting to bring in those insights and help to contribute towards making the farming industry more accessible, especially when it comes to funding. So we give out some millions of dollars in grants every year. This is the whole SARE organization. We have 4 different regions that operate. I'm in the Northeast region. And so we actually have a grant open right now that closes November 12th. And so farmers can get up to $30,000 to support their work. And we have, I think it's about $850,000 of grants to give away.
Wow. What does it feel like? What does it feel like to be living in your calling, to be living in your purpose? What does that feel like, Kim?
It's humbling.
How so?
You know, I take all of these risks, and then when I watch doors actually open, it's humbling and it's affirming, because I know that the work that I'm doing is helping people, that it's actually impactful. And that's what really matters to me, is that I'm out there making a difference and assisting people. I mean, I chose my university, my college, because it was the #1 school in the country for community service. It's just always been at the heart of everything I've done. I lived abroad between high school and college in Bolivia, working in a children's home. I've always just been focused on being of service to others, and the fact that I get to do that in such exciting domains, I mean, I'm so grateful.
Yes, I can see that. I can see that gratitude. I almost want to be like a little fly on the wall, just like watching you work. I'm just curious, like, what is a regular Thursday afternoon, a Thursday morning, Thursday evening? What does a regular day look like in the life of Kim?
So there's definitely no regular days. It's usually me doing a little bit of everything all the time, which for me works. I know that can be a little daunting for others, but I'm so grateful to be living my life in New York City of all places, because it allows me the flexibility to do that. So maybe, you know, some days I'll be running a program in a school in the morning. Then I'll be sailing in the afternoon. And I sing on the side as well when I can.
Yes, I was going to get to that, girl. So you have a voice on you. We got to get you to come back and perform.
I would love that.
Yes.
So sometimes I get to go, you know, do some sailing in the afternoon. Then I'll be singing in the evening. And then I'm always squeezing in meetings and other things wherever I can.
Wow. Okay, so How did you get into singing? Like, let's talk about your other skill now.
You know, it's so funny. Going back to my mom. My mom, she's sacrificed so much for me over the years. And when I was about 10, 11 years old, I was in this very special audition-only choir group, and they had the chance for participating members to go to Australia and New Zealand to go sing. And I sang at the Sydney Opera House when I was 11. And that trip was a little pricey, and my mom did her very, very best to fundraise for me to be able to go, because she knew that was going to be a trip of a lifetime that would shape me. And it absolutely has. I mean, I feel like getting to experience something so unique and amazing like that at such a young age. I was the baby of the group, it was mostly high schoolers. Radically changed my life. And it's something I can appreciate now as an adult, but I'm so grateful that she did what she needed to do in order to give me such an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, that's incredible, Kim. Oh my God, I feel like I could talk to you for an hour and hours, really, because you just have so much insight. I'm very, very excited for you. I'm very, very proud of everything that you are doing. I'm so inspired. I think you're admirable. And I absolutely know that you are going to continue to be an incredible agent of change. Seriously. Now, I want you to leave us. Tell us 3 very, very brief, quick facts about space that you think people don't know.
Ooh, about space. Less than 12% of all astronauts have been women.
Got it.
20% of the industry's workforce is women. And lastly, fun facts about space. Oh, now my head's drawing a blank. And I post so many things all the time. I would say, the last thing, space, you use it way more often than you know. If you use GPS at all, you're probably using a satellite to help make your day flow. So your life would not run without space.
I love it. I love it. Tell folks where they can follow you, Kim, on all the social media platforms.
Yeah, you guys can find me at galactic_Kim anywhere online.
Galactic. It doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any better than that name. Let us show our love for Kim Macharia, everybody. Woo! Fantastic job. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to head on over to a quick commercial break, but don't you go anywhere, because we have so much more of the AM show when we return. Keep it locked, everybody. Let's fly away.
Working in STEM-related fields, it's science-focused, right? So you have to do a lot of experimentation, and experiments often involve some level of failure before you get to the right place. And I've definitely had moments where I've questioned different parts of my journey if I was on the right path. But engaging and utilizing that muscle of resilience over time has absolutely allowed me to